The FBI this afternoon has complied with a judge's order and released a redacted version of the affidavit used in the warrant that allowed the agency to search former President Donald Trump's Florida estate. Joining me now to go over what was released in this affidavit, Washington correspondent Kevin Fry. And Kevin, as I look at the affidavit, so much of it is redacted, but there's still quite a bit of information that the public learned today.
Right. I mean, it's more than 30 pages, just to give you a sense of what a lot of what we're looking at here. Here is just one example of one of those pages that's within this document. A lot crossed out here, a lot blacked out, which is not fully surprising. The DOJ had been arguing from the get-go that they can't reveal too much information. It would infringe on their witnesses and also on the progress of their ongoing investigation. In terms of some of the details we did learn here, we got a better sense of the timeline that led up to this actual search of the Mar-a-Lago estate. They laid out in this document that the National Archives had been requesting these documents and information going back to last year. Over the course of several months, they were reaching out, asking for them to transfer these over to the National Archives. Ultimately, it was then January of this year that they got their hands on these 15 boxes, which were found to have classified materials inside, and that's when the Department of Justice got involved. Now, according to the affidavit, we learned that there were 184 documents with some form of classified marking on them. That includes 67 confidential documents, 92 secret markings, and 25 top secret markings. And of course, at an unsecure facility like Mar-a-Lago, that was of grave concern to the Department of Justice, which is why we saw them act in the way that they did, according to this affidavit. At one point in the document, the DOJ does lay out that they're requesting the Trump team to set up some sort of secure facility to hold on to these documents, at least in the temporary scheme, as this proceeds. But those are kind of the main headlines that we're seeing here. The Trump team, of course, pushing back in a letter that was included in this affidavit, arguing that the former president and the president at the time had the power to declassify these documents. That's one of the arguments we've seen from the former president since this all played out, though. Monica?
And Kevin, reading in between the redactions here, one of the FBI agents writing that there is probable cause to believe that evidence of obstruction will be found at Mar-a-Lago. That is exactly what they were aiming to discover. And that was also why the Justice Department did not want this to be released, because they maintain that this is an ongoing investigation and they don't want to jeopardize it.
Right. I mean, the president is facing multiple probes from multiple fronts at this point. You, of course, have this ongoing investigation into this handling of these documents and how well they were cooperating with the DOJ when it comes to handing over these documents. There is, of course, the ongoing investigation into January 6th. And then, of course, on Capitol Hill, they have their own probe of the attack on the Capitol. So this is just kind of one development in a string of different things that the former president is now facing.
Okay, Kevin Fry from Washington for us. Thanks a million.